Hey everyone, welcome to Mask Off for Mask. This is the second bonus episode of the summer that I wanted to release. Before I jump into all of that, though, I wanted to just give an update on new episodes of the podcast. New episodes will be coming out the first week of September, so I'll be starting to post content at the end of August. I've got some great interviews that I've already done, so I can't wait for you guys to hear them. Please follow me on Instagram or wherever you're following this podcast. And yeah, just to make sure that you catch those when they come out. This is Mask Off for Mask. So I wanted to do another bonus episode before the end of summer. My last topic was grief, so I wanted to switch to something that was a lot lighter. And maybe I'm feeling a lot lighter than I was when I recorded that episode on grief. So today I want to talk about romance. Romance is a kink. It's definitely mine. There's nothing like falling in love with a sweet guy who wants to hold your hand and lie in bed with you all day. You feel so special with this person, like you can't believe you met them. It can also be addictive. When that feeling fades, whether because the relationship ends or because you've grown used to each other, it can be hard to let go. I think I've had to learn a lot of the times of differentiating between the way the guy was making me feel and the guy. But when a new relationship starts, they're always wonderful and it feels great. And just always being able to kind of have in the back of your mind that that relationship can go anywhere, which is okay. Still, it's a kink because it's not always based in reality. A relationship is so many other things, and it's impossible to feel infatuation and romance all the time. However, for me, knowing it's a kink gives me the ability to access it when I want or to ask for it when I need it. That gives me more power and allows me to stay grounded in reality when relationships aren't so romantic. So it can be something that I ask for, where I say, hey, can we just have sex in the way that maybe I like to have sex, but be like, or can we go on a date tonight? Or can we talk about our feelings tonight? All these kind of things that I know that I can be explicit with to whoever I'm with that I want this, is something that a lot of times people are willing to do. Maybe romance isn't totally their thing, but I mean, if it's something that you want just every once in a while, it's something doable that most people will be able to do. I used to listen to love songs as a teenager and imagine falling in love with a man. The idea of a man making me feel like I was the most important person in the world was incredibly arousing when I felt worthless as a queer kid. But it's still a fantasy, or that was a fantasy. There was no the one or soulmate, but we can use those terms like role play. It's a fantasy to have someone say these words to me and fuck me like it's the most passionate moment of our lives. All this stuff can, if those are the things that get you going, then you know to use those like a kink. And so, yeah, in the past, I've gotten into trouble thinking I was in love when in reality, someone was just being extra romantic because I was special in that moment. Any new person is going to feel more exciting at first. I've had a couple moments where I've been with a guy and it's been like, oh, it feels so good. I'm crushing on you so hard. And a couple of times where I've just sort of talked about feelings and the guy's like, I don't want to talk about that. And I was like, ooh, this is going to be a problem. And so there's moments where you kind of have to like be like, oh shit, you got to look at what reality is too and how far that relationship can go. And that's all okay. You can still enjoy it. Doesn't mean you have to get out of the relationship. A lot of times you're like, oh, this might fizzle out probably when this new exciting part is over. And maybe not. Who knows, right? But it's things to be aware of. And yeah, so this episode isn't about saying romance is bad. It's about how wonderful it can be when you recognize it as a kink and explore it without losing yourself in it. So I wanted to do this thing where I just kind of brought up some things that I thought were really romantic in my life or that guys have done for me. Um like even when I got into my first serious relationship, I've always thought, or I've always, so my favorite thing to do with a guy is to go grocery shopping or like getting up in the morning and like going to get a coffee and making breakfast. That is like my favorite thing ever. And maybe that's not even that romantic, but to me, that's like, I don't know. I had this moment, I remember watching my partner and we were in the grocery store and, this is a long time ago, but in the grocery store, I just remember like pushing the cart around and being like, this is the best. This is the best. I just want to like go home, spend time with you, have dinner together. And yeah, there's something about the grocery store that really gets me going. I do love the grocery store in general. I hate shopping for stuff, but like food, for some reason, the grocery store always has this feeling of like comfort to me. And I think being able to do that with another guy feels like a lot more intimate. Yeah. So one guy, what he did for me a few years ago. I'm being very vague and I'm going in no order, and if I use a name, it's going to be a different name, and so please don't try to figure out who these people are because I don't know if you would be able to. I guess one guy, we'll just call him Ben. And, I remember meeting him and we were out dancing, and again, this was a while ago before I kind of became everything that I am right now. But when I was younger, especially in my 20s, I always loved dancing. But I would go out dancing to things. Everyone kind of looked at me like I was kind of almost like entertaining to people because I would just dance so hard. But it was almost more of like a I don't know. It just felt like they weren't making fun of me, but like it was kind of more so like, oh, there goes Vance again, and kind of this like expectation. But this one guy saw me and was really attracted to me for dancing, and because he loved dancing too. And having someone that was so into me because of that and saw me dancing in the way that I am and feeling free in my body and how much that means to me, and actually seeing that as attractive, it was the first time it shifted in my head that I was, oh, this is actually like something that makes you special. Like as much as that relationship did not last long at all, I'll never forget that. That was like I had an amazing time dancing with this guy over like a couple days. It was actually, and it was pretty erotic too. Like it was the first time I realized that like, oh, I love being able to dance with someone who can kind of dance with me in the way that I am. And I always feel like I'm just dancing by myself, and which most of the time I am. But to have someone be able to dance with me, and I compare dance a lot with sex in my work and saying that there's similar aspects to both of them. And so to be able to dance with another guy is that where you're connected and connecting to the music in sync. Yeah, it's really hot. Very romantic. The other thing that I've learned with guys is like a guy who can talk about his feelings and can be vulnerable and does it in such a genuine way, or is just kind. Like I realize I'm into like just kind of like the boy next door, even sometimes like kind of nerdy. There's something very sweet and endearing about guys like that. And actually, one of the things that I've learned to be more attracted to is because I like more passionate, embodied, romantic sex and even relationships. I've noticed that a lot of times I'm attracted to a guy who is a bit more vulnerable because that might translate into sex. Maybe not all the time. I don't know if that's true, but in my experiences, I found that, it's to have that, be able to have a guy that is willing to or is able to have a full range of emotions with me in general, bring that into the bedroom, make sex really hot. There was someone that I was like, still to this day, I'm like, that was the best sex ever. And I really do. It's because there was like an emotional piece that I think we both got from it, or were able to connect to. And we're romantic. We were sweet with each other. We really like softness, slowness, tenderness. I'll also say that there's one thing, because dancing is just like, I mean, it's not even like you have to be an amazing dancer. For me, it's like just being able to like dance and connect to the music and actually do more than just like kind of bounce back and forth. No shade to people who do that, but the movement is great and no matter what. But there's something about just like a guy who feels a bit more free in his body. And so I've fallen in love with boys on the dance floor for sure. But there's a thing that this one guy would do that was so sweet is when we were out dancing, they would hold my hand and take their thumb out and just start to rub the palm of my hand with their thumb. And we were at this like big music thing. So like lots of people around. And there was something so romantic about that because with so much going on, it was like this moment of like, I just want to let you know that I see you, that I like, I love that stuff. There's one other guy who Like, I thought this was so sweet, but he made this comment. We were talking, and he said, "Do you like to draw?" And I was like, I don't draw, but do you?" And he said, "Yeah, I draw, but yeah, I draw. I do it because I like to get my feelings out or my emotions or however he said it." And I was like, "Oh, that's very sweet." Yeah, just being able to see guys that kind of have that softness and it being open to that is really sexy to me. And again, though, this is like, as I said, this is like romance is a kink. And I think what I've learned about it is like, it's not like a right or wrong way. Lots of people aren't into romance because it can be a little intense. And sometimes I can find myself getting into like, oh, that's BS, right? But understanding it that like, oh, this is fantasy. This is what turns me on. And, you know, whether you're a guy that I've been dating for a few years or a guy that I just met this weekend, that stuff can feel really good. I actually, for me, it's I've wanted to make porn that is about romance, especially gay porn. I think that so much of gay porn is about anonymity and like someone just bumping into each other and then fucking in like the most like unrealistic scenarios, which is fine. But I mean, there's just a lot of stuff it's not really about like the people aren't in love. And I would love to see more of that. And I think that there's a lot of guys out there that if they saw like, oh, wow, this is a hot scene because it's about two boyfriends that are fucking really passionately because maybe, I don't know, maybe it was one of their birthdays and they just felt really grateful for each other. It was like, why? That stuff can be really hot. I want to see the closeness. I want to see kissing. I want to see eye contact. I want to see slowness. And I think that there is more of a want. You should comment and let me know, actually, if this is something that you'd like to see more of. And again, it's not saying any of the other porn is bad. It's just saying that I think that there are a lot more guys that maybe don't see it as a kink and just see it as like, this is what a relationship should be. And it's not seeing it as like, hey, you can actually separate romance just into this sexual experience sometimes, especially if it's to make porn. I wanted to say, so my main point though is sex is about feeling something. So feeling desired, feeling naughty, feeling provocative, feeling loved. Kinks make us feel something, and that's why we do them. And so for me, romance makes me feel special. I've really struggled, and I think part of my trauma, whatever my existence is, as a lot of queer people do, is that, you know, when you feel like you can't be yourself when you were growing up, like you don't really feel good about yourself. And that's why so many of us work so hard to be like amazing, because like we kind of learned that to be just regular wasn't good enough, right? And so romance, oh my God, if I bring that kink into my sex life, it's going to be great moments and opportunities for me to receive what I need in this fantasy way that's going to make me feel really good and make me feel really special. And also being able to do that for someone else makes me feel really good. I still find that really arousing. I think it goes back to that when I was a kid, fantasizing about falling in love with a man. It's like, that's the fantasy. You can do that fantasy, but it might be in these very specific moments of role play or special occasions or when you have to plan it, not every day. And I'll also say about like all these guys that I was just talking about, they have given me some of the most fulfilling experiences, along with some of the hardest heartbreaks. But like seriously, I think it's like the reason I live is I love falling in love. You know, the difference between romance and love is that romance can be exaggerated in a fantasy. Well, love is about going through the ups and downs, seeing someone for everything they are, flaws and all, and still being there with them. That's what makes it more meaningful, maybe a bit more deep. But what I've learned is like going back to being that kid who at the time never thought that I would ever fall in love with someone, that I am so grateful. And I still think back on all those experiences with those guys as like really beautiful and like really special moments in my life. And lots of these guys have become, not that there's like a lot of them, but the guys that I actually did, and whether it was like just a couple months or a few years, there are certain guys that might have just even made me feel special for those 2 months or for those few years. You know, no matter what happened, you can't take that away, and how wonderful it is to think back on that. Well, thanks for listening to me rant about romance and love. If you have any comments or want to talk about your experiences, or maybe even if you have ideas of bonus episodes that you would like me to do or topics to cover, let me know. I will see you in September, or you'll see me or hear me in September when I start to release new episodes.